From high above the earth, Iran reveals itself not as a crowded nation often portrayed in headlines, but as a vast and ancient landscape shaped by silence. Here, the land stretches outward in tones of gold, ochre, and faded red, where deserts merge with stone plateaus and the horizon seems to dissolve into the sky. From the air, the scale becomes clear. This is not a land defined by cities or roads, but by immense open spaces where the terrain appears almost untouched. Wind has carved the surface for thousands of years, leaving behind a world of sand, rock, and quiet emptiness. Across much of the country lies the Iranian Plateau, one of the largest highland regions on Earth. It is a place where elevation rises above surrounding lands, creating vast plains of stone and dust that extend far beyond what the eye can easily measure. In many directions, the desert seems endless. The ground shifts between sand and bare rock, broken only by distant ridges and weathered formations that hint at the immense forces that once shaped this terrain. Rain here is rare. Some regions receive only a few centimeters of precipitation each year, making water one of the most precious and elusive resources in the landscape. During the day, temperatures can rise to punishing levels beneath an unfiltered sun. But when night falls, the desert cools rapidly, and the same land that burned under daylight becomes cold and still beneath the stars. These extreme contrasts define life in the Iranian desert. Over countless centuries, wind, heat, and dryness have sculpted the plateau into the stark terrain visible today. From above, the colors of the land tell the story of geology and time. Layers of sediment and mineral-rich soil create the warm palette of yellows, browns, and deep rust tones that dominate the landscape. At first glance, the region may appear empty, but this silence is deceptive. Hidden within the vastness are traces of human presence, structures and settlements that once stood at the crossroads of ancient journeys. In places where the desert opens wide and the horizon seems infinite, the remains of these settlements begin to appear. Small against the immensity of the land, they emerge slowly from the sand and stone. And as the camera moves closer, the story of how humans once lived in this unforgiving landscape begins to unfold. As the camera moves deeper into the landscape, the vast scale of Iran's interior begins to unfold. What appears from afar as a simple desert is in reality part of a massive geological formation known as the Iranian Plateau, one of the largest and ancient highland regions on Earth. Stretching across much of the country, this plateau rises high above the surrounding lands of the Middle East and Central Asia. It is a world shaped not by rivers and forests, but by stone, wind, and relentless time. From the air, the terrain reveals a striking simplicity. Wide expanses of bare rock extend across the plateau, interrupted only by distant ridges and dry basins that collect the rare traces of rain. Much of this landscape is dominated by deserts. Vast fields of sand and salt stretch outward in every direction, forming some of the most inhospitable environments on the planet. But the Iranian Plateau is not defined by sand alone. In many places, the ground is composed of hardened stone and compacted earth, exposed after millions of years of erosion removed softer layers of sediment. Here, mountains rise abruptly from the surrounding plains. These rugged ranges were formed by powerful tectonic forces as the Arabian Plate slowly pushed against the Eurasian continent, lifting the land upward over immense spans of time. Yet even mountains cannot escape the shaping power of the desert. Across the plateau, wind moves constantly, carrying fine grains of sand that act like natural sandpaper against exposed rock. Over thousands of years, this process slowly grinds away sharp edges and smooth surfaces, carving the stone into strange and sometimes dramatic shapes. In certain regions, entire fields of rock have been sculpted into long ridges and jagged formations. These structures, known as yardangs, are created when powerful desert winds erode softer rock while leaving harder layers standing behind. From above, yardangs resemble frozen waves in a sea of stone. They stretch for kilometers across the desert floor, aligned in the direction of the prevailing winds that formed them. Temperature also plays a powerful role in shaping the plateau. During the day, the desert surface absorbs intense solar heat, causing rocks and soil to expand under the blazing sun. But when night arrives, temperatures can drop dramatically. This sudden cooling forces the same rocks to contract, creating internal stresses that slowly fracture the surface over time. This cycle of expansion and contraction repeats endlessly. Year after year, century after century, it weakens the stone and breaks it apart grain by grain. Combined with the abrasive power of wind, this process transforms entire landscapes into fields of scattered rock and dust. Water, when it does appear, adds another layer to this geological story. Although rainfall is rare across much of the plateau, occasional storms can send sudden torrents of water rushing through dry valleys. These temporary rivers carve channels into the desert floor, cutting through sediment and leaving behind winding paths that may remain dry for years at a time. Because rain is so scarce, vegetation struggles to survive in many parts of the plateau. Only the most resilient plants can endure the intense heat, poor soil, and limited moisture. For animals and humans alike, survival here has always been difficult. Food, water, and shelter are never guaranteed in such an unforgiving environment. Yet despite these harsh conditions, people have lived in and traveled across the Iranian Plateau for thousands of years. Their presence can still be seen in the scattered remains of settlements, trade routes, and defensive structures built long ago. Across this immense landscape, these human constructions often appear unexpectedly. A cluster of walls, a watchtower, or the outline of a settlement suddenly rises from the stone and sand. Against the overwhelming scale of the plateau, these structures seem almost fragile. Small pockets of human effort standing against a landscape that has been shaped by nature for millions of years. From the air, they resemble isolated islands surrounded by a vast ocean of desert, places where people once gathered, traded, and built lives in the shadow of a powerful and unforgiving environment. And it is within these isolated pockets of history that the next chapter of this landscape begins to reveal itself.
Across the immense openness of the Iranian Plateau, the desert often appears empty. Sand, stone, and distant ridges stretch outward with almost no sign of human life. But every so often, something unexpected begins to emerge from the landscape. A faint outline, a cluster of walls. The silent geometry of a settlement slowly revealing itself against the vast desert floor. From above, these structures appear almost unreal, small fragments of architecture standing alone in a landscape so immense that their presence seems improbable. Yet these are not random ruins. They are the remains of cities that once played an important role in the movement of peoples, goods, and ideas across Asia. For thousands of years, Iran stood at the crossroads of ancient trade routes. Caravans carrying silk, spices, precious metals, and textiles passed through these lands on long journeys between east and west. Travel across the desert was never easy. Distances were vast, temperatures extreme, and water scarce. To survive such journeys, travelers depended on a network of settlements scattered across the plateau. These cities offered rest, protection, and supplies for merchants crossing the desert. Many of them were positioned along the legendary Silk Road, one of the most significant trade networks in human history. This route connected China, Central Asia, the Middle East, and eventually the Mediterranean world. Caravans could travel for weeks across barren terrain before reaching the safety of a settlement. When they did, these desert cities became places of life and exchange. Markets filled with traders speaking many languages. Animals rested after long days of travel, and travelers shared stories of distant lands far beyond the horizon. Over time, these settlements grew to thriving communities. Stone walls rose to protect them from bandits and harsh desert winds. Houses, courtyards, and towers were built to create small islands of civilization within an unforgiving environment. But the desert is a patient force, and the conditions that once allowed these cities to exist could also slowly lead to their decline. Trade routes shifted, political borders changed, and new roads began to replace the ancient paths once traveled by camel caravans. Gradually, many of these settlements lost their purpose. The travelers stopped coming, markets fell silent, and the cities that once thrived in the desert were slowly abandoned. Today, what remains are the quiet skeletons of these communities. Stone walls still stand where homes once sheltered families. Collapsed columns mark the outlines of courtyards and gathering places. The desert wind moves freely through broken archways and weathered gates. From a distance, the ruins appear almost frozen in time. Their shapes remain recognizable even after centuries of exposure to sun and sand. In many other climates, buildings left unattended would quickly decay. Rain, vegetation, and humidity would slowly reclaim the structures. But the harsh dryness of the Iranian desert has created a different kind of preservation. With so little moisture in the air, the natural processes of decay move far more slowly. Wood may disappear, but stone and sun-dried brick can endure for generations. Walls erode gradually, yet their forms remain visible long after the people who built them have vanished. Because of this environment, entire neighborhoods can still be traced across the desert floor. Doorways remain open to the sky. Staircases lead upward to rooms that no longer exist. In some places, narrow alleys still wind between rows of structures, hinting at the rhythms of daily life that once unfolded here. These ruins are not merely fragments of architecture, they are records of how humans adapted to one of the most challenging environments on Earth. Builders carefully designed these settlements to survive the desert climate. Thick walls helped regulate temperature, keeping interiors cooler during scorching afternoons and warmer during cold desert nights. Courtyards allowed air to circulate through living spaces. Narrow streets reduced direct exposure to sunlight while channeling wind through the settlement. Even the orientation of buildings was often planned with the environment in mind. Every detail reflected a deep understanding of the desert and its rhythms. Standing among these ruins today, it is possible to imagine the life that once filled them. The sound of merchants bargaining in the market, the slow movement of caravans entering the city gates after long journeys across the plateau, water carried from wells, children running through shaded courtyards, travelers resting beneath the protective walls before continuing their journeys east or west. Now, those moments exist only as echoes within the stones. The desert has reclaimed the spaces between the walls, but the structures themselves still stand as silent witnesses to the past. Seen from above, these settlements remain small against the immense scale of the Iranian Plateau. They appear like isolated islands rising from an ocean of sand and rock. Yet their presence reminds us that even in the most unforgiving landscapes, human communities once flourished. People adapted, built, traded, and created networks of life across territories that seem inhospitable today. And as the camera moves closer to these deserted cities, another layer of their story begins to appear. High above the ruins, on rocky ridges and elevated ground, stand the next structures that once guarded these fragile desert communities. Fortresses, built not only to defend the settlements below, but to watch over the endless desert beyond. Across the deserts and plateaus of Iran, the ruins of ancient cities are rarely alone. Rising above many of these settlements, often positioned on higher ground, stand the remains of powerful defensive structures, fortresses built to watch over the surrounding land. These strongholds were more than simple buildings. They were carefully chosen vantage points designed to command wide views across the desert. From these elevated positions, guards could scan the horizon for approaching caravans, travelers, or potential threats long before they reached the city below. In landscapes where the terrain stretches uninterrupted for kilometers, visibility becomes a powerful advantage, and the builders of these fortresses understood the strategic value of height. Many were constructed on natural rock formations or along the edges of plateaus. Others were built atop artificial mounds, raised above the surrounding terrain to increase their defensive strength. From a distance, these structures often appear like extensions of the land itself. Their colors blend with the surrounding rock and desert soil, making them almost indistinguishable from the terrain that supports them. But as the camera moves closer, the scale of their construction becomes clear. Massive walls rise from the ground, their surfaces worn by centuries of sun and wind. These walls were built thick, sometimes several meters wide. Their materials were simple but remarkably effective. Stone blocks gathered from nearby quarries formed the strongest foundations. In other regions, builders used sun-dried mud bricks, a material that has been used across desert civilizations for thousands of years. At first glance, mud brick may appear fragile, but in dry climates, it can endure for centuries when carefully constructed and maintained. Layer upon layer of these materials created walls capable of withstanding both human threats and the relentless pressure of the environment. Inside the fortresses, the layout often followed a functional and practical design. Narrow passageways guided movement through the structure, creating defensible corridors where attackers could be slowed or stopped. Stone staircases connected different levels of the fortress, allowing guards to move quickly between towers, walls, and watch points. These stairways, worn smooth by countless footsteps, still climb upward through the ruins today. Beyond the defensive walls, many fortresses contained open courtyards. These spaces served as gathering points for soldiers, storage areas for supplies, and sometimes shelter for travelers seeking protection within the fortress walls. Courtyards also allowed air to circulate through the structure, an important feature in the intense heat of the desert. Around these open spaces, rooms and chambers were built for storage, rest, and strategic observation. Arched doorways and vaulted corridors connected different sections of the complex. The use of arches was not only aesthetic, it also allowed builders to distribute weight more efficiently across the structure, increasing durability and stability over time. Even today, these architectural forms remain strikingly recognizable. Stone corridors still frame views of the desert beyond. Archways stand open to the sky, casting long shadows across the floors below. The desert environment itself has played a surprising role in preserving these structures. With little rainfall and almost no vegetation growth, the forces that normally break down buildings operate much more slowly here. Instead of collapsing quickly, the fortresses gradually weather. Edges soften, surfaces erode, but the essential geometry of the architecture remains visible long after its original builders are gone. The desert sun bleaches the walls to pale shades of brown and amber. Wind carries fine sand through the corridors, slowly polishing stone surfaces over time. In some places, sand drifts partially fill rooms and passageways, creating new layers within the ancient structure. Yet even after hundreds of years of exposure, the overall form of these fortresses continues to endure. Their walls still trace the outlines of defensive boundaries. Their towers still overlook the vast emptiness of the plateau.
Standing within these ruins, it becomes clear that these fortifications were built with more than short-term survival in mind. They were built to last. Their builders understood the harsh realities of the desert. They constructed walls strong enough to resist not only human conflict, but also the relentless forces of climate and time. Today, these fortresses remain among the most striking features of the Iranian desert landscape. Silent monuments rising above abandoned settlements and empty plains. From their walls, the same view still stretches outward across the plateau, a horizon of stone, sand, and distant mountains that has changed very little over the centuries. And as the sun begins to descend toward that horizon, the desert landscape enters another transformation. Light softens, shadows grow longer. The ancient cities and fortresses, once built to guard life in this unforgiving environment, stand quietly as the day fades into evening. A reminder that in the desert, time moves slowly, but it never stops.
In many regions of Iran, these ancient ruins exist far from the rhythm of the modern world. There are no highways cutting across the horizon, no distant skylines of expanding cities. Instead, the landscape remains much as it has been for centuries, an open expanse of desert, stone, and sky where the past still dominates the view. From above, the ruins of old cities appear small against the immense scale of the plateau. Clusters of walls and towers sit quietly within a vast ocean of sand and rock. Around them stretches a landscape that feels almost untouched by modern time. No crowds, no traffic, only the quiet presence of structures that have endured through centuries of change. Here, the dominant forces are not human activity, but the elements of the desert itself. Wind moves freely across the plateau, carrying fine grains of sand that drift slowly across the ground. Over time, these grains accumulate in corners, against walls, and along the edges of abandoned streets. Gradually, the desert begins to weave itself back into the spaces once shaped by human hands. The process is slow, so slow that it can take generations before the changes become obvious. Yet, over hundreds and thousands of years, the movement of wind and sand steadily reshapes the landscape around these settlements. The desert does not rush. It advances patiently, grain by grain, season after season. At times, sand gathers against the outer walls of buildings, forming small dunes that slowly climb higher with each passing year. In other places, drifting sand fills empty rooms or narrow alleyways, softening the sharp geometry of architecture that once defined the settlement. But despite this gradual encroachment, many of the walls still stand. Their outlines remain strong against the fading light of the desert evening. The materials used by ancient builders have proven remarkably resilient. Stone blocks and compacted earthen bricks continue to hold their form long after the communities that built them disappeared. Even after centuries of exposure to sun, wind, and temperature extremes, the essential shape of these cities remains visible. Streets can still be traced, courtyards still open toward the sky. From certain angles, it is possible to imagine the settlement as it once was, alive with movement and sound. Caravans arriving from distant lands, merchants unloading goods beneath the protection of fortress walls, voices echoing through narrow passages as people carried out the routines of daily life. Now those sounds have long faded into silence. The desert has reclaimed the air where conversation once filled the streets. In the late afternoon, as the sun lowers toward the horizon, the light across the plateau begins to soften. Warm tones spread across the sand and stone, illuminating the ruins with a golden glow. Shadows grow longer along the broken walls and collapsed columns. Every surface reveals the marks of time, cracks, worn edges, and textures shaped by centuries of weathering. The wind continues to move across the open land. It passes through empty archways and along abandoned corridors, carrying with it the faint whisper of drifting sand. For a moment, the ruins seem suspended between past and present, still standing, yet belonging to a world that no longer exists. Places like these remind us that human history does not always vanish completely. Even when communities disappear and cultures move on, traces of their presence can endure within the landscape. The desert, as harsh as it may seem, has become an unexpected guardian of these memories. Its dryness slows decay. Its emptiness protects the fragile remains from the pressures of modern development. And so the ruins remain. Silent structures standing within a landscape that has changed very little since the time they were built. As the last light of day spreads across the plateau, the ancient cities of Iran appear almost timeless. Their walls casting long shadows across the sand, their towers still watching the empty horizon.
They stand as quiet reminders that even in the most unforgiving environments on Earth, the marks of human presence can endure far longer than we might expect.
Iran is a land where nature moves with immense patience, a place where harsh environments, powerful geological forces, and centuries of human history are written directly into the landscape. Across the Iranian Plateau, the desert has shaped nearly everything that exists here. Wind, heat, and time have sculpted the stone and sand into a world that feels both ancient and immense. Life in such a place has never been easy. Water is scarce, temperatures can be unforgiving, and the distances between settlements are vast. Yet, for thousands of years, people found ways to survive here. They built cities along the trade routes that crossed the plateau. They constructed fortresses to guard their communities and protect travelers moving between distant lands. These settlements once formed vital links in the networks that connected Asia, the Middle East, and beyond. Places where cultures met, goods were exchanged, and journeys paused before continuing across the desert. Today, many of these cities stand silent. The caravans are gone. The markets no longer echo with voices, but the structures remain. Walls of stone and earth still rise from the desert floor, marking the places where human life once flourished against extraordinary odds. Surrounded by vast expanses of sand and rock, these ruins now exist almost entirely apart from the modern world. No crowded streets, no expanding skylines, only wind moving across the plateau and the quiet endurance of ancient architecture. In this landscape, time feels different. It moves slowly, almost imperceptibly, as the desert continues its long and patient work. And yet the cities and fortresses still stand, silent witnesses to centuries of history, reminding us that even in the harshest environments on Earth, the traces of human presence can endure for generations.